morning, everybody. Welcome to Lunenburg Public Library's Story Time with Miss Debbie, our Al Fresco story time. This story time also occurs as long as the weather holds outside on our patio, but I'm also recording it so that if you can't make it or that's not a comfortable situation for you, then you can enjoy what we do as well. So let's start out with our welcome song, okay? And remember, we're doing sign language, so hopefully by now the signs are pretty simple, that you're starting to remember them. So it starts out with hello, just a simple, kind of wave, hello, and then friends, crooking your finger both ways, that's friend. It's time, so you just point to your wrist. I happen to have a watch on, but you don't have to, you just point to your wrist to say hello. Okay, ready? Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. So hello, everybody. Good to see you again. Before we get started with our story time today, which I bet you can guess by looking at my lovely board here, what we're going to have a story time about today. It's all about these guys right here. But again, before we get started with that, let's let our friend out of his house. Let's see if he's in here. Well, good afternoon. How are you, Mr. Fresco? Nice to see you again. I bet you're ready to come out of that basket. Ah, buongiorno, buongiorno. Oh, it looks like Mr. Fresco, did you bring us an Italian word for today? I certainly did. All right, let's see what you brought. A vocabolo Italiano. He always brings it in this very snazzy bag. So let's see what he brought today. I want to set you down right there because it looks like I need both hands. So today's word is il mostro. Il mostro. How is that? Pretty good, huh? And il mostro is monster. A monster. And this is a pizza monster. So thank you for that. I like your pizza monster. It's very clever. Okay. So we'll put il mostro up here. Mostro. I always say mostro. It's mostro. Right up here. Okay, and we're going to do a little activity with those in just a minute. So let's read some stories about monsters. And I promise they're not too scary. First one we're going to read is by Patrick McDonnell, and it's called The Monster's Monster. He does indeed look like a monster. Grouch and Grump and Little Gloom and Doom thought that they were monsters. Look at this guy down here. Little Gloom and Doom is a two-headed monster. Wow. They lived in a dark monster castle, high atop a dark monster mountain, overlooking a monster-fearing village. Their little monster heads were always filled with big monster thoughts like smash and crash and bash, huffing and puffing and mad about nothing. Guess what their 10 favorite words were? No, 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 and no. Every day they argued over who was the biggest, baddest monster, who was able to complain the loudest, who could throw the most terrible tantrum, who was the most miserable. Oh my goodness, these debates always ended in a brawl. Do you know what a brawl is? Yeah, it's a fight. One day, they decided to settle the argument once and for all. Grouch got some tape and tacks and staples and glue. Those sound like craft materials. Grump found some gunk and gauze and gobs of goo, while Gloom and Doom grabbed bolts and wire and a smelly old shoe. Together, they would make a monster, the biggest, baddest monster ever. Oh my goodness, look at that. It certainly is big. Looks kind of like he's sleeping, doesn't it? Looks like his eyes are closed. Let's see. They hoisted their creation up into the stormy sky where, bam! A lightning bolt sent a powerful jolt through the creature. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen? Lightning hits the monster? I think you're right. The monster started to twitch. He's alive! He's alive! The little terror exclaimed. The monster roared as he stumbled around, tearing away his bandages. Big, cried little Gloom. Bad, little Doom squeaked. Monster! They all cheered together. They were so excited. The growling giant reached toward them. Oh boy. And then in a deep, booming voice, he said his first words. What do you think they were? It's not what I expected. Thank you. He crushed them to his chest with a tight squeeze. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you know what he's saying? Yeah, he's saying thank you. Monster wriggled his stubby monster fingers and tapped his big clunky monster feet. He looked around in wonder and threw open a window, and the room filled with warm, early dawn light, bird song, and dewy fresh air. Monster smiled and let out a little giggle. He's excited to see the beautiful day. What do you think you're doing? Cried Grouch. Do these monsters like that beautiful sunny day? I don't think so. Monster bounced around the room, gently greeting the many bats and rats and spiders and snakes that were all around him. No, 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 shouted the group. You're supposed to be a monster. But Monster didn't think he was a monster. He didn't think that he was anything. Oh. It's kind of sad. He didn't think he was anything but thankful to be alive. Woohoo! Monster became still, sniffing a hint of sweetness in the morning air. What do you think he smelled? Suddenly he let out a roar and smashed through the dungeon wall. Ha ha ha, Grouch laughed. He's finally coming to his senses. Yes, yes, shouted Grump. He's off to make mayhem in the village. He's gonna smash and crash and bash, cried Doom and Gloom. Now he's acting like a monster, wouldn't you say? At least that's what they think. Do you know what this word is right here? It is an awesome place to go visit. It says bakery. The rascals dashed after Monster, trying to keep up with his long strides down the down the mountain. Monster! Monster! They cheered after him. The village bakery was just opening for the day when Monster plowed through the front door. He's walking like a monster, too. Do you know how to do that? Grouch and Grump and Gloom and Doom anxiously awaited outside the shop, peering in through the dusty windows. Big, whispered Gloom. Bad, whispered Doom. Shh, shh, begged Grump. I want to hear the owls and the howls. There was a tense quiet. Then finally, from inside the bakery, they heard, "Thank you." Monster appeared, clutching a white paper bag. Coming out of a bakery with a white paper bag is a good thing. He then turned and headed out of town toward the beach. What do you think he might have in his bag that he got from the bakery? A cookie, could be. A bagel, a croissant. All kinds of yummy things. Cinnamon roll, icing. Yeah. After him, the trio Fresco cried, "Monster! Monster!" Monster slowly knelt down on the soft, cool sand. Grouch and Grump and Gloom and Doom collapsed in a heap around him. And remember, they've been chasing after him because he walks very fast. He's big. As they tried to catch their breath, Monster gently patted them on the head. He carefully opened the bag and gave them each a warm, powdered jelly donut. Oh my goodness, that is a yummy treat. Grouch and Grump and Gloom and Doom were speechless. You know what that means? They didn't know what to say. I don't think it's what they expected. But then they remembered what their big, bad monster had said. You know what they said? "Thank you." Monster looked at them and smiled, and they smiled back, and together they all started to giggle. Grouch and Grump and Little Gloom and Doom and their new friend sat quietly on the shore, watching the sunrise and munching on their powdered jelly donuts. And the seagulls playing, and the green seagrass dancing, and the ocean glistening, and no one was thinking about being a monster. Just enjoying the start of a beautiful day. Do you ever do that? Go down to the beach in the morning? No one else is there. That's one of my favorite times. So that was a great book. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Okay, so I have an activity that we're going to do right now. And I'm going to show you how it goes. It's actually what I'm going to, actually, I have a better idea. What I want you to do right now is to go and find one of your stuffed animals or a small pillow or something that you can use to kind of move around your body, all right? So you run off and do that, okay? I'll give you a minute to do that while we look at our monsters up here. Let's count and see how many monsters we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 monsters. 5 little monsters. And there's a red one, and a yellow one, an orange one, a blue one, a green one. Which one do you like the best? Mr. Cameraman, which one do you like the best? What do you think? You like the big red guy with his tongue hanging out? He is kind of cool. Well, I like him because he has horns. That's kind of cool. But this is one of my favorite colors. I love that nice bright electric green. So cute. All right, are you all set? So this is how this is going to work. So in my bag here, I have a little poem for us to do, a little activity. It's called Monsters Here, all right? And I also have lots and lots and lots of monster pictures. And again, red ones, and blue ones, and green ones. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, I think maybe I think I'm going to use that one. He's pretty cool. Okay, so hopefully you found your stuffed animal. We'll put them over here. You don't mind, Mr. Fresco, do you? We'll have you sit on top of the monsters. Keep them under control so they don't go crazy, okay? Okay, so this is how this goes. Let me just put it, I think it's easy if I put it on my clipboard. So monsters here and monsters there. There are monsters everywhere. There are monsters on my shoulder. Where's your shoulder? Yep, there he is, right up here on my shoulder. And monsters on my toe. Oh my goodness, way down here on my toe. Monster on my belly. And monster on my nose. Monsters on my arms. Could actually sit up just like that. And monsters on my lips. Monsters on my knees. Where's your knees? And monsters on your hips. Where are your hips? Yep, down here. Monsters here and monsters there. There are monsters everywhere. Do I look worried? No siree. They're my friends, can't you see? monsters. Isn't that a fun poem? That's fun to do with your pretend monster. Okay. One more monster for you to babysit. Okay. All right. I'm going to read another story and then we'll take a look at our 5 little monsters. I'll put that right up there. Do something with those guys. Okay. So we just read a story about some monsters who thought they were just, you know, the baddest of the bad guys, and then one big monster who turned out to be a very gentle soul. Here's another story about another kind of monster. He is known as the Love Monster, and Rachel Bright wrote this story. Don't you love the picture on the cover? He's got his little lovey. This is a cute one. And there we go. There's people living in the village. And here's the monster house over here. Doesn't look quite the same, does it? This is a monster. Right here. Hello, monster. I think you'll agree that he's a bit funny looking, to say the least. Oh. I'm not sure that's a nice thing to say, but he is kind of. Oh my. He lives in a world of cute, fluffy things. Oh, these little bunnies and kittens and, oh. This is an official pile of extreme cuteness. Would you agree? Yeah. Which makes being funny looking pretty darn hard. Doesn't look like he's too happy about that situation. You might have noticed that everybody loves kittens and everybody loves puppies and bunnies. You know, those cute, fluffy little things. Gosh, who doesn't love a puppy? But nobody loves a slightly hairy, I suppose a bit googly-eyed monster. Oh, poor monster. Looks kind of sad. This might be enough to make a monster feel, well, a bit down in the dumps. But not being the moping around sort, this monster decided to set out and look for someone who'd love him just the way he was. And here he's starting to gather some things for his journey. This is his packing list for the big wide world. Let's see what kind of, oh, he's got a thermos, probably with some either tea or coffee in it, and some books, yay him, his glasses. Oh, no, this is down here, his clean socks. A snack. Pretty cool. Good to be prepared. So now, he looked high, then he looked low. What do you think? Think he's having any luck? Maybe not yet. He looked middle-ish. Middle-ish. And he looked inside. Oh my. Don't get your head stuck there, Mr. Monster. Do you know what this is, where he's peeking inside? It used to be a long time ago, people would have a slot, they called it, an opening in their door, and then the postal delivery person, back then it was probably mostly men, would come up with your letters and your mail and drop it right in the slot, and it would fall right inside your house. Pretty cool. So he got it. Oh, there he is, peeking in the mail slot. And he's looking outside. More than once he thought that maybe, just maybe, he'd found what he was looking for. But as it turned out, things were never quite as they seemed. See what he's looking at here? Yeah, it's his reflection and his shadow. And this is a mannequin. This is not a real monster. Almost like a monster puppet. Yes, it would be fair to say that his search did not go very well. Poor monster. And he has his places to look. And again, remember, he looked high and low and middle-ish, and inside and outside and elsewhere. And then it didn't go well some more. Oh, look what happened. Oh, dear. That guy now, not only is he having a tough time finding someone to love him, now he's getting rained on. That just doesn't seem fair. It didn't go well for such a long time, in fact, that it began to get dark, oh, and scary, and, well, not very nice. That's not a happy expression. So the monster, having lost all his oomph, decided, it's time to give up. I'm not going to find anybody. I'm just going to go home. He's waiting on a bench for the bus to Cutesville. And here comes the bus. Give up and go home. Poor monster. Wait a minute. But in the blink of a googly eye, look, there's somebody on the bus. Everything changed. There are those little cuteness, but there's somebody else on that bus. You see, sometimes when you least expect it, love finds you. Oh, look, he has a new friend. And this is from the author. He wrote us a little note at the end, and it says, "For the monsters who found me," and one slightly hairy one in particular. I wonder who that is. Well, I'm sorry, that was about the cutest story we've read in a while. I love that. Okay, let's look at our 5 little monsters. All right, or il mostro. 5 little monsters were sitting on the floor. The first one said, "Let's knock on someone's door." The second one said, "Let's act a little scary." And the third one said, "Why are we so hairy?" It's the third one here. The fourth one said, "I hear a funny sound." And the fifth one said, "Oh, there's no one else around." Then whoosh went the wind, and eek, someone said. So the 5 little monsters ran under the bed. Isn't that a cute one? 5 little monsters under the bed. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me for story time today. This was a fun one. I want to show you, before we wrap things up, I want to show you what you have in your craft kit. And hopefully you'll have a chance to stop by the library and pick up one of these nifty little kits. Our wonderful library pages work really hard to put these things together for you. And we have plenty, so you just have to call the library and say, "I would like to come pick up a kit." We can set that up for you, but let me just show you what's in our kit this time. You are going to get to make your very own monster, all right? Put my supplies, you don't mind. Mr Fresco, move you over a little bit. So inside, you're going to have your page of directions, tell you what you need to do, but it's pretty simple. I think for most of us, if you just look at the picture, you're going to see what you have to do. Put this down here. So in here, that's what we have. We have a trusty paper plate, because that's always fun to do crafts with. We have some tissue paper, and I'm making my monster. I happen to get purple paper, so I'm going to make a purple monster. And I have some big, huge monster eyes, some googly eyes. You can use as many as you want. You might want to use all three. Our monster needs a mouth, and I'll show you how to cut a mouth out of this paper. And then we put a few extra pieces of paper in here in case you want your monster to have antennae, or maybe you want your monster to have a horn, or maybe a tail. So you've got some nice bright colors of paper to cut out some extra details. So very simply what you're going to do, and you can use a glue stick, or if you have some of that liquid white glue, that also works. Because what you want to do is pretty much cover your whole paper so that the tissue is really going to stick. Okay, that. And you just take your tissue and start laying it on top. Here, over here, and here. And you can put some more on top if you want. The more you put on here, the deeper your color will be of your monster. A few more pieces left that I can use. All right, so that's pretty good. We'll put a piece over here. So now my plain white monster is now a purple monster. So I think I kind of like the idea of one big eye. So if you decide you want to do it that way, then you have got some extra eyes that you can use for another project or put someplace else. Cut out around the outside. Cutting in a circle is a little bit tricky. So if you think that part's going to be a little too hard, you can ask a big person to help you. Big brother or sister. Or put it right there in the middle of his forehead. What do you think? So far so good, Mr. Cameraman? Okay. Now, so here's my monster's mouth. And if you wanted to, you could just kind of glue it on like that. I'm going to show you something you can do. I folded it, and I folded it again, so my long piece of paper now looks like this. And I'm just going to take my scissors and cut like that, and like that. And I now, if I did this right, I did. Look at my monster's mouth. Actually, I kind of like it this way. It looks like his teeth are sticking up. So, same thing, just put a little bit of glue on your paper so you have some place to stick the mouth. And you can do your mouth any way you want. And you might notice that when you do it that you have a little bit extra glue, but when it dries it'll go away. So far that's what my monster looks like. I think I want him to have some horns. So again, if you fold your paper, then when you cut you're going to get at least two. So I'm just going to go like this. And look, ta-da, two horns for my monster. I love it. Okay, let's see. One more thing. What else could I do? Maybe I'll give my monster some big ears. So let's see. What would a monster's ears look like? Ears. No, ears. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the edge. Ear right here. Now if you have a chance to make your craft and you'd like to show me what you've made, you can call the library and drop your craft off, and I'd be happy to put it up in the window with your name on it. Everybody get to see. Here's my monster. His ears are kind of low that we don't hear by his mouth. Interesting. But anyway, just have fun with it. You have lots of colors to work with, and if you end up with some extra scraps of paper, just glue them on there and make your monster as fancy as you want. If you've got glitter at home and your family says it's okay, glitter is always awesome on your art projects. Sequins, pom-poms, anything you have at home that you might want to use to make your monster. It is your monster and you can do whatever you'd like. So that's it for today. I'm glad you could be here and hear our great story and stories and do our monster activities. Don't forget to contact the library so you can pick up your kit to make a monster. And enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao, ciao, everybody.